Rachel.
Hello Beverley, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to you too.
And Happy New Year, everyone at St. Peter's. 2022. How did we get to that so quickly?
I know, it's been a bit of a blur the last year, hasn't it?
It really has. Some things we'd rather forget, but some things that are really good.
True. There's
like
many.
you joining us.
Yes, I joined St. Peter's in September last year, and I've really enjoyed my time here so far.
Actually, I joined St. Peter's in 2021 as well, so there's some good stuff in 2021, and some we'd rather forget.
Yes.
But what about 2022?
Mm.
I would love St. Peter's to remember one particular Bible verse in the course of 2022. If there's just one verse you remember, it's going to be this one. 1 John chapter 3 and verse 11. Should we tell them what it is?
Yes, go for it.
So 1 John 3, 11. This is the message which you have heard from the beginning. We should love one another.
That's brilliant. I love that.
It's quite a simple verse, isn't it? But everything's in it.
Indeed.
The whole message of this book, this is my Bible, is that God loves us. He loves us so much, and he is saying, I love you. Will you love me? And he wants the answer to be yes. And when the answer is yes, then we too love God and show our love for God in loving one another.
Yeah, most definitely.
And that's the heart of our faith.
Yes, couldn't agree more.
So that's our verse for this year. This is the message you've heard from the beginning. We should love one another. But right now, how can we go about doing that? What do you think?
Question.
What can we do?
Yeah, so how do we love one another? What's that look like in practice? And I think we need to be thinking carefully about how we can be responsible and caring to ourselves and one another.
Yeah, we can be checking up on how our friends and neighbours are
Mm-hmm.
and making sure that they're all right.
Yes, definitely.
And a big thank you to our lay pastors for all that you do in helping to lead that ministry for us. But we can all be doing it. Don't just leave it to the lay pastors. Or actually, if you're not one, why not think about volunteering to be a lay pastor?
Definitely, yeah.
I think it's really important too to be praying for each other.
Indeed, we need to keep praying because there's lots of things going on in the world at the moment, quite challenging situations that we're still working through, especially with the pandemic and concerns around COVID. And we're not out of the woods yet, so we need to be thinking carefully about how we approach as we journey into this new year and how we look after ourselves and how we look after each other.
So thank you to those of you who are involved in prayer ministry, to prayer partners and Ginny for leading us in that ministry. And we can all be praying for each other, and we can all be caring for each other in that particular way that is becoming the way of the 2020s, COVID safety.
Yes.
Sorry to mention that, but
we can't avoid it.
it's still part of our lives.
Yes.
And right now, with the rate of infections very, very high, and the number of people infected over the million mark at the moment, and our hospitals and our doctor surgeries under huge pressure, it's all the more important for us to exercise and keep on exercising that COVID safety, however bored we might be getting of it. So, what's the first thing we need to do when we're coming out to an event, whether it's a church event or anything else?
That's true. So what do we see when we enter the church building itself? Well, we need to start using hand sanitizer. And I'm sure most of you are doing it all the time anyway, but please just take that extra care to make sure your hands are as clean as possible when you come into church or the parish halls. It's just a really good way of showing your love for one another and making sure we're being respectful to each other as well.
And you can protect yourself by using the hand sanitizer on your way out as well.
Indeed.
And of course, remembering that hands, face, space message, the face bit. We've all got these. I think a lot of us are getting a bit fed up with having to wear them, especially for an hour in church, but these matter, don't they?
They do. And I
Is that
still
all
need...
right?
Yeah, that looks perfect.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think I look much better like that, but Keeping the nose covered, please. Masks under noses might as well not be worn if you're going to protect yourself and others. Over the nose and the mouth, not as a chin strap.
Yes, so please do bring your face masks with you. And if you're coughing and spluttering, it's just a really good sign to show that you're taking responsibility for that.
One thing that when Hands Face Space came in first that we weren't doing that we are now is lateral flow tests. If you can possibly do a lateral flow test before you come to a church service or meeting, please do.
Indeed, and I appreciate that lateral flow tests are in short supply across the whole country at the moment, but if you do have them available, do use them before coming to church or any sort of church activity.
The other thing that we know, because we've learned a lot over the last year, is that ventilation is hugely important. It's probably one of the most important things we can do. So if you're meeting up with church friends for a coffee, at a social event, a house group, anything like that, please remember to ensure proper ventilation in your house, wherever you are. Open a window, open the door. The room that Rachel and I are in right now has the door very wide open so that we're well ventilated. And of course it means we're going to be ventilating the church hall and the church as well.
Yeah, definitely. And we all know that British winters can be quite harsh, so yes, do wear extra clothing, an extra jumper, maybe an extra pair of socks to keep yourself warm when you're inside the church. And we want you to be as comfortable as possible, but we do need to be very conscious of airflow within the spaces that we worship in.
Yeah, we will not be able to keep the church fully warm. That's really hard, isn't it? In the church hall, if you belong to a group that usually meets in the Harvey room and has more than about half a dozen people, where we can, we will transfer you into the church hall so that you've got more space to space out and a little more ventilation. That won't always be possible, but where we can, we'll move you to the Harvey room. Of course, the hardest decision that we've had to make, and that the PCC Standing Committee made this week with me, but it was a necessary one because we have to be responsible given the way that the Omicron variant and the Delta variant are really spreading at the moment. Concerned our 4:00 service.
Yes, definitely. And regretfully, we are having to postpone the 4:00 service, which was meant to be starting this week going forward. However, it's not cancelled, it's just postponed, and it will be back up and running when it's deemed safe to do so. So please keep that in the back of your minds. It is something that will be happening this year, but just not yet. It doesn't feel the right time to be starting something of that size at this particular time.
So we're all trying our best to be responsible. Meanwhile, if you are at home because you are having to isolate, because you feel unwell for whatever reason, perhaps because you just think it's too cold to sit in a church with the doors open, and I wouldn't blame you, you can still take part in St. Peter's worship because we're still online.
Yes, indeed. And our Sunday services that start at 10 a.m. will be live streamed on Facebook. So feel free to invite your friends onto that group so they can watch the service as it unfolds live.
And it's possible to join in with morning prayer every morning at 9 o'clock. Now that 10 o'clock on Sunday and 9 o'clock Monday to Friday, they've been happening for quite a while. Many of you regularly go along to that, but we'd love plenty of you. If you can't be in church, join us and do join in with that weekday. It's a really friendly congregation in the week, isn't it?
Oh, most definitely. Technology is a blessing when it works, and why not join us online? It's a great resource available to us, and it's a really nice conversations that we can have in the chat as well. So it is very interactive.
And this Sunday, there's an extra special service which will also be available to you on Facebook, because this Sunday is going to be celebrating the Feast of the Epiphany, the revelation through the Magi of the good news of God's love for us. And so at 6 o'clock on Sunday evening, you can go to the St. Peter's Weston Favell Facebook page or join us in church at St. Peter's for our very special Epiphany Evensong.
And what time is that?
That's 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
On Sunday evening. And that's not the only exciting thing that's happening on Sunday.
What else is happening?
Well, 10 o'clock, Sunday morning at our special service, we are going to be licensing the diocese's second Anna chaplain.
Ah, so who's that then?
That's Sue Pinnington, who is one of our reader team. And Sue is going to be St Peter's Anna chaplain.
Oh, fantastic. That's brilliant news.
Now, have you heard of an Anna chaplain before?
I'm not sure. Remind me again what that might be.
Anna chaplains, and they're named after Anna, who with Simeon met Jesus as a tiny, tiny baby. The story we celebrate at Candlemas. So Anna chaplains are about ministry to the elderly. And there's a particular focus on residential care and supportive living accommodation. So Sue is going to be, as our Anna chaplain, our lead minister for work with the elderly, and particularly at St John's residential home, which is really exciting.
It is very exciting, and I'm sure we'll all be supporting Sue with that special service coming up.
Brilliant, isn't it? So we're looking forward to that, and we hope you will join her. And well, I think this is quite a set of notices, isn't it? It's just as well we're filming it and not doing it in a service, really.
Very true.
But there's one more thing that I would love you to tell people about, Rachel, because we started with this special Bible verse, that reminder that we should love one another, and of the story of this book. And I think I'd love you to tell people about how you're going to be exploring that more in the coming weeks.
Indeed, yes. So myself and Reverend Matt will be running a Life Explored course starting next Wednesday, the 12th of January. This course is aimed at people that may not have been baptised or confirmed, or people that just want to explore their faith a little bit further and deeper. Or it might be someone that has lots of questions about Christianity and they want a safe space to ask questions in a very informal setting. The course will run on Wednesday evenings for 7 weeks. So please do come and speak to me, or leave a message with Kathy in the office, and I'll get in contact with you to talk to you a little bit more about it and give you some more details. If it's not for you, that's absolutely fine, but you might have a family member, a neighbour, a co-worker or a friend that's always asking you questions about Jesus and God. Why not redirect them to the Life Explored course? They'll definitely take something away from it. So do get in touch.
That's so exciting. And so hopefully lots of you will think about who you can direct to Rachel, and people can talk to Rachel on Sunday. And there'll be some social distancing going on even at that. So if you don't want someone to sit next to you because you're social distancing, there's a pile of those. I'm going to keep this here. I can keep people distant from me in the living room and at Life Explored. But there's these in church as well, if you want people to sit at a distance from you. Because I never thought I'd say this in my ministry, we want you to sit further away from each other because we love one another.
Indeed.
I'd love to hope that by the end of 2022 we won't need signs like this. But who knows? Pandemics, I'm told, can take 5 years to play their way through. So let's just keep on loving one another and keep on doing all that we can. Things feel like they're constantly changing, and a lot of these changes are about us coping with this COVID pandemic. But Lord, we do it because we love you and we love one another. So people of St Peter's, have a blessed and happy New Year. And we look forward to seeing you in person or online, but taking care of one another.